Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, I just had a very good Bible study with my family there. The message is simple. We're not adding anything to the scripture nor taking anything away from the scripture. And that's the best way to follow the Lord if you're a Christian. We don't add to it nor subtract. And I'd imagine would be the same for Muslim brothers and in their walk of faith as well. We just want to follow what the Lord has given us to follow to a T and keep His word in our hearts in regards to our beliefs. And a lot of times I worry about people adding things to the Bible over the years, subtracting things, etc., different scriptures that may have been worded differently, that interpret different things. We see that all the time, but there's also a certain level of trust and faith that comes with understanding that even if what is meant to derail us in interpretation is in place, there's still a way for us to receive what is intended, in that the scriptures that were originally written are always available to us to try to translate, so long as we're willing to learn Hebrew and learn what the ancient words were in times when they were written in the way that they were. So that's what the message was, man. I so glad that I was able to receive that, because my focus is split, man. I just got through seeing, right before my uncle called me, I saw the footage going on in Rafah, and I tell you the truth, man, it's some of the most horrific stuff of this genocide, man. I struggle because I want to post everything that I see in regards to my IG stories, but I don't want to traumatize the people who follow me or trigger people who follow me. So I try to, as I've always said, post things that don't have unalived individuals or anything like that. So that's all of the footage that I just got through seeing that's taking place over there. They bombing tents, man, as I had mentioned in my previous therapy session. And I had seen some of that footage before I left, and then saw more of it just now. And it's just the horrific nature and the carnage of what it is. It's just reaching new levels. We've been seeing this carnage for 200 days or more than 200 days, I believe. And today might have been the worst of them all in terms of the images that are coming out. Nothing short of traumatic. And so what I want people to understand is, regardless of what side of this you're on, it takes a special level of demonic spirit to see stuff like this and be fine with it. And I wonder about people and what it takes to brainwash a mind of a person who walks amongst civility every day, picks up their own children, stands for whatever it is within their means of caring for people, and then see stuff like this and not feel nothing, or see stuff like this and say it's acceptable because whatever qualifier they put in place. I want people to understand that I get it for those of us who are not trying to subject ourselves to these things. There's nothing we can do about it. The world's too big. I was listening to my friend Karen when she was dealing with all of the things that she was dealing with in her personal life, and I sent her some things during the early stage of this genocide, and she couldn't take it. It's not my place to look at someone like herself and say, yo, you got to do more, or this, that. I just got to do more myself. You know what I mean? That's what I think. But it's going to require people stepping into some traumatic spaces and some uncomfort zones for us really to make the impact against this that's needed for it to stop. And I'm telling you, if ever there was a day where it's necessary to look at all of you and say, we need to do more, it's today. After the images I just saw over the last couple hours, it's today. We need to do more. For those of us who don't care, you're a big part of the problem. And your indifference is why a lot of this carnage is happening. It's because you are cool with it. And I'm telling you, this is not going to end well for you. I'm just being honest with you. Those of us who are complicit and silent, those of us who are only concerned with our own trauma and more interested in not triggering ourselves than we are about stopping the violence that's happening to those people, this ain't going to end well for you. Because what I realize is, the more that they continue to do this, the more Israel continues to bomb innocent people, the more rage the world is finding against America for being indifferent in regards to it. And eventually that violence is going to be brought to us on this land. And while we have the big bombs and the big army and all this and that, we've never been attacked like what could be possible for our indifference in regards to the traumatic images that I'm seeing and that others are seeing all over the world. The things that they're saying about America is that they want us off of the earth. And while we thought we were hated like this all this time, it's never been as common for people to see the reasons why. Normal people all over the world and within this country are learning to hate this country, not only for what it's allowing, but for what is perceived as support for it. So those of us who are in this country standing on the side of what is allowing this to happen, I am starting to believe that the violence of this circumstance is going to find you. I'm telling you that I'm listening to people all over the world, people from places that have never really told us how angry they are with America. They're seeing things that would invoke a rage within their belly that would make them sacrifice themselves to pay back what it is they're seeing. That's what I'm telling you. And I think that's, when you look at it from a spiritual perspective, I think that's what the images are meant to do, is make hate come from within others to point it toward many of the indifferent who otherwise are not strong enough, for whatever good or bad reasons, to step up and make their voices be heard against what is happening. So it's a war that they're trying to invoke, and it's a deep hatred and a long term attack that they are trying to manifest in people who otherwise don't know to be angry at America, but for these images that they're seeing today. When you start thinking about why people war for many, many years, for thousands of years, wars take place, it's because of events like this that invoke a deep generational hatred for those who either do it or those who allow others to do it while standing idly doing nothing. And I'm telling you, we're in a shifting point because of our government and our norms have taught us that we were already hated this much by people, but that hatred wasn't actually in place. Those who were telling us that weren't telling the truth about what they were doing to provoke said hatred. And now we are seeing that provocation in real time. In real time. So the hate that you thought you had, America, you thought, Muslim people and Arabic people hated you. What was really happening is people behind our backs were telling us that those people were hating us while going behind our backs and actually doing things to make it so that they do. And I'd imagine the intention of that is to then justify the things that we're doing to them, to say that, see, this is who they are. But really what we were doing was being horrible, showing who we were by way of the representation that they were providing. When that's not actually who we are. We're just people enjoying the privilege of our lives, enjoying our cultures and all the different things that we enjoy in America, and are out of sight, out of mind as it pertains to the harm that is being done all over the world by our very own country. But now it's in our faces. So you got people domestically who just 2 years ago loved their country, now are learning to hate their government, now learning to hate their fellow man because of the indifference shown and the callousness shown to children who are losing their lives in some unnatural ways. And so what I'm telling you is the world has changed over the last 300 days, 200 plus days, and Israel and all of the evil that represents it are trying to provoke a hatred that lasts thousands of years going forward, I believe. When you kill babies and plaster this image all over our faces, you're going to have generational hatred pointed back at whoever did this and whoever didn't do anything about it. And that's why I want people to understand now is not the time to be indifferent. Now is not the time to sit back idly. Now is not the time to be thinking about the short-term circumstances of your life. And what we're talking about, something that's going to potentially be a war that lasts a very long time. When you kill people's children, this becomes a situation where they teach their children to hurt you. Okay? I'm just being honest. This is not something that's going to go away. This is not a PR nightmare. No, this is the manifestation of a dark violence that we're asking for, that our government is trying to manifest in their lifetimes that will last far beyond it. And the Western world and the Zionist movement is trying to manifest this hatred in the stomachs of people that they are torturing in this way. And they're going to be effective in doing it if we don't get in the way. So while y'all think it's harmless, with whatever is in your heads and hearts, telling these kids who are in these colleges not to protest, they're the only thing standing in the way of what I just described. People like myself who are saying something, who are trying to get through the indoctrination of my docile behavior as it pertains to not wanting to trigger others. Us who are trying to fight through that so that we can raise awareness for this are what's in the way of basically a very, very, very long world war that we were going to be on the wrong side of. In the name of something that is not sustainable anymore because of the mistakes made within the intentions of doing this while not realizing that people were watching. You understand what I'm saying? Our government did this and they weren't necessarily taking into account how much all of this would be revealed online. And so that's what I think it is. That's my speculation, that they didn't actually realize what they were doing as it pertains to so much resistance that would otherwise come from doing this. They're used to being able to do stuff like this, walk away, cover it up with some propaganda, this, that, and the third. That will never be what it was. It will never be what it was. Because now the world has seen what they've done. They've seen them lie about it. They've seen Israel make folly about it and continue to support Israel in doing so, or, softly move away from supporting them while secretly sending them funds and allowing our government to ultimately be completely compromised by this world terrorist organization. And I just think it's gonna be something that kills a lot of people, man. It's not just the people that we're seeing die now. Some of our homes and our comfort zones and all that, it's going to be ravaged by war because of what we're seeing today. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, our kids are going to suffer because of what Israel's doing today and because of our sheepish indifference and our protection of our own minds and all this different stuff that ain't going to matter because the world's going to be torn up because of this. And whatever it is they think they're going to build in Gaza, Gaza is going to be a place where people are likely going to want to attack every 3 days because of what they did in building it to be what it is they want it to be tomorrow. Whatever comfort they think they're going to find, they're going to have people hating them from all over the world. They're never going to know where it's coming from. And so that's what I'm telling y'all. It's going to be war and torn for years unless the Palestinians are given back their land. I'm just telling y'all the truth. Whatever Israel thinks they're building there, it's never going to be safe for you. Not based on the hatred that you are manifesting in the stomachs of people all over the world who are watching this in their phones. They hate you bad, man. And that's why I want to tell everybody who waves an Israeli flag, you got to be able to acknowledge at some point in time that this is your fault. That not only what's happening to the people that you don't care about is your fault, but what's about to happen to you is too your fault. Just being honest. It don't bring me no happiness to say this. I'm not making any terroristic threats. I don't have any intentions of doing anything that would otherwise harm anybody. If anything, I'm trying to keep this from happening by showing y'all what's in my mind's eye. No different than I do with a basketball team. I'm telling you that we're on the verge of destroying the world with this type of thing. And it starts with everybody who's being silent, complicit to whatever little or big circumstances you have invested in being silent. Wanting your world to be safer by being silent only provokes more anger in the hearts of those who are witnessing this, like myself, and those who are going through this, like all of those who are right now. So if you got it in you to be proactive, get involved. Do whatever you need to do to acknowledge and leave some imprint online that shows that you were not okay with this. It could be the difference between what happens next happening to you or not. When they look back and say, well, who are the families that didn't care about this? Let it not be yours, man. It's pretty much what I want to say. It's time for us to start thinking very long term as it pertains to the aftermath and effects of this, because we have a very irresponsible government compromised by a very, very violent and destructive entity. And whether you believe in spirituality, good and evil and all that or not, these people are going to have people mad at the American flag, at the British flag, at the Israeli flag for generations long past their deaths. That's what I know. And whether you believe in the red, white, and blue, whether you're a pro-colonist, colonizer, colonial, whatever the hell they call that, whether you're on that side or not, you got to understand that what makes you safe is at risk because of this hatred that these guys are provoking at this moment. A lot of y'all, it's in your best interest to stay quiet, but the world that you were in when that was the case is about to change because of what it is we're seeing, because of what is happening to these people. So this ain't the time to say, oh, that's overseas and they're always fighting in the Arab world. That war is coming to you because you stuck your head in it as an American. Your government did, that is. So that's what my mother used to say. Oh, they've been warring in the Middle East since the biblical days. Yeah, but the Western world put their hand in it and started stirring up the pot in such a way to now a lot of it's going to be pointed at us. And it doesn't really matter how big your army is or how strong your bombs are if it's pointed at you from all directions. And that's what I'm worried is going to end up happening to our country. It's going to be pointed at all directions, including many who are here, who are going to, I think the word is insurrect, so to speak, based on the hatred that's going to come from the trauma of seeing these images. You're going to have more people want to turn on this country from the inside out than ever. And I think if you're spiritually inclined, you know that's what the devil wants anyway. Whether those who are doing this want that or not, that's exactly what the enemy, spiritual enemy of man wants, is for us to turn on one another, hate heavily, and then invoke violence and destruction from there. So if you stay spiritually inclined and if your compass is spiritually based, then you understand what your faith needs to be rooted in at this time. It's in turning away from your own inner demons that would otherwise turn you into one of those weapons against humanity, and understanding what actually provoked all of this in the first place, which was selfishness and selective humanity practices and individuals who wanted to seal off their own space that did not belong to them. That's what started all of this. That's what continues all of this. And people turning away from that in the mirror, I believe, is what's going to save us from all of this. We're going to need people who benefit a great deal from the colonial way of doing things to sacrifice their benefit for the sake of people who are suffering in places that they are not seeing, they are not knowing about, and they have to trust that those people are worth saving from within spaces where it's not taught for us to care for people in those spaces. We need to unlearn a lot here in America. And I'm afraid some of the generations that have been here for a long time, most of them may be too far gone. They're too far indoctrined in the very things that keep this, for which is hurting those people, together. Through their religious beliefs, through their social beliefs, and through the propaganda that they've been handed down by many generations. It's going to be the young ones and those of us who are open-minded enough to say, we don't like the result of where we are. We want to be better in the mirror, and then we want the people around us to be better as well. That's the only way we're going to get around this. It's the only way we're going to be able to survive this. It's the only way we're going to be able to stop this. And so that's what I want to say, man. These politicians, they failed us. These corporations and these celebrities, they failed us. They have failed us, and they failed the people that are ultimately suffering the ills of this genocide. And now, as the world changes because of their failure, we're going to have to find a way to pick up the pieces. So if we don't get serious about this, or if we keep believing that the world is going to stay the way it is, and that some of the things that we protect ourselves in regards to are most important over what it is that we need to do next, you're going to start seeing more trauma come into your life based on what it is I just described. This is unavoidable at this point. So that's what I'm saying to you. The words beheaded babies, I've seen beheaded babies today. And so has millions of other people all over the world. And who do they blame? America, Israel, Britain. You understand what I'm saying? That's who they blame. So I want people to understand why there's so many people that you're going to see on your TV screen not talking about the right stuff, or will blame Hamas and all that. Hamas is a reaction to what was initially started in this process. And history is not going to paint Hamas out to be who these people want us to believe Hamas is, because it isn't the truth. And too many people have seen that truth, quote unquote, debunked. So the story is going to be told in a way that reflects that reality, not what is being told to you by your Western media, who is inevitably going to go down poorly in history as a corrupted entity, controlled just like our government is. Controlled by Israel, controlled by the interests of Israel. So that's what I'm going to tell y'all, man. I want to prepare the people who follow me. All 500 plus of the people who follow me, close enough. Any one of y'all to see my videos, I want you to understand what it is I see here. The world is going to change very quickly. And a lot of the horror that we've seen happening over there, it's going to come our way. Because we didn't do enough to stop it from happening to people over there. And the world's going to be looking at us. And they're going to want to test that army out. They're going to want to test these bombs. You got these bombs, you're going to use them because we coming for you type energy. I expect to be coming our way over the next several years. We've never known war on our soil outside of civil wars. We don't know that. We know a couple terrorist attacks, quote unquote terrorist attacks, but we don't know people trying to send everything at us. We don't know that. Multiple countries trying to harm us in our homes here. We don't know that. But what I'm telling you is what our government is doing is going to make it so that people hate us enough to try us like that. And we're going to lose a lot of people, man. We're going to lose a lot of soldiers. We're going to lose a lot of civilians too. If we don't step up in this real time right now and let the world know in mass, from American to American to American, color, creed, everything, that we are not with this, that we are not pleased with the way things are structured, so that we are in our best interest to be quiet, that we're ready to let go of some of those things that keep this together so that people's lives can be saved. We need to start showing that if we care about anything other than ourselves, that we're willing to show it. Because if we don't, the only thing left for the world to do is to try to eliminate us, man, for the sins of our government and for the sins of the forefathers who stole this land, just like those who stole the land from those in Palestine. Remember, America, the only reason why they think Palestine can be done this way is because you did it here. Remember that. So when people start trying to get to the crux of what the real evil is, they're going to look at the land that has already been stolen. And that's this one. We got sins to atone for, and the world is going to hold us accountable for those. So that's what I want to tell people, man. If you're a good old American person and you really believe in the flag, you need to understand fully what it is I just described over the last 24 minutes and how that is going to affect your life going forward. This is not the time to continue as business as usual. This is not that. This is not the time to huddle behind your Democrats or Republicans. This ain't the time. This is the time to show that you are aware that both parties are compromised by Israel. It's time to understand that and believe it, because they are. Your Congress fully bought, paid for. Your presidents fully bought and paid for. AIPAC owns them all. Israel owns them all. And that is, they own your news stations. They own them. And those are the people who are hurting these people over there in Palestine and are continuing to make it normal for their suffering, for which we will never adhere to. They are not victims, they are aggressors, and that is the reality that history is going to tell. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. My heart is shattered for what I seen today. It goes out to the people who this happened to, but it's been shattered for about 6 months now. All of this that I've been seeing longer. What is it? 9-10 months of this. Today is just another day in the genocide, man. But I'm telling you, it's a shift. It's a shift taking place. People are no longer just waiting for us to speak. Now it's like, oh, you're not? Okay. That's where we are as in regards to the world temperature on America. So I've been trying to help, man. I've been trying to get people to wake up. I've been talking to you guys, celebrities, anybody that follow me. I've been trying to get y'all to not let it get to this point. A lot of you celebrities, a lot of y'all quiet ones, y'all were the ones who were supposed to use your voices to amplify the truth about our hearts, represent the people in such a way to let the rest of the world know that we weren't fine with these kids dying and being tortured. You didn't do that. So now the world thinks we are a reflection of what your silence was. That was the harm in being quiet in 2023, 2024. You guys showed a reflection of us that is indifferent in nature, and a good portion of us were not indifferent when it came to this. We did not want to see this. We hated seeing this. Our news media wasn't going to tell the truth about this, but a lot of us were seeing the truth online, and we were trying to use our voices, but we were not amplified enough. It was you celebrities that did not speak out, that did not ultimately represent us properly. You are why a lot of this is going to happen, and I want y'all to know it. You not amplifying our intentions of wanting this to not be. From behind enemy lines that you were, behind AIPAC payments and all of this Zionist nonsense, you were supposed to bleed through that America was not backing Israel's play, even though the government was. That's what I needed from my celebrities, to tell the truth about what I actually felt about this to everybody who would be paying attention to you and not me. And you failed us. You failed us because you were adhering to your own selfishness and your greed and your need to be famous and stay in the good graces of the evil Zionist people who controlled you. And many Americans, many people are going to suffer whatever comes with that because of your selfishness and your greed. Many people died while you were quiet. So that's what I want to say to all the celebrities out there, man. It was a few good ones. You know who you are. I'm not about to mention the good ones right now. It was a large celebrity community that did not speak up or were support of this nonsense. And whatever happens to you, you deserve for your silence. I'm just being absolutely clear with everybody. Whatever happens because of it, you brought it to yourself. So that's what I got to say, man. God bless every good person out there. God bless everybody suffering. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching, and I'm out.